Today, we're covering three major updates that quietly reshape the AI industry. Alphabet is racing toward a $4 trillion valuation. Anthropic just dropped Opus 4.5 with massive upgrades. China's UBTech Robotics is raising $400 million to scale humanoid manufacturing. These aren't small stories. Together, they show how AI hardware, chips, data centers, and robotics are evolving faster than anyone expected. Let's break everything down clearly. On November 24, 2025, Alphabet's shares rose more than 5% in a single day to hit $315.90 per share, pushing the market cap to about $3.82 trillion, nearly 70% higher for the year. If Alphabet crosses $4 trillion, it will join an extremely exclusive club of companies at that valuation tier. The article highlights that the surge comes as Alphabet's AI and cloud businesses regain momentum, reversing investor concerns from earlier years that it had lost its edge to challengers.
Why should a valuation story matter to someone following AI hardware and the chip war? Because the foundations of that rally are not only software, they are compute infrastructure, chips, cloud systems, and manufacturing scale. Some points of significance: Alphabet has strong cash flow, enabling investment into infrastructure and hardware at scale. The report notes Alphabet has its own in-house custom chips, TPUs, which serve as an alternative to competitors' expensive processors. Cloud and data center growth means more machines, more racks, more cooling, more power, all hardware-heavy.
Alphabet's resurgence follows a period when many believed it had lost its AI lead, especially after the 2022 launch of OpenAI's ChatGPT. The Reuters piece notes investor sentiment reversed this year as Alphabet's AI and cloud momentum returned. Key strategic elements: cloud transformation. Alphabet's cloud business is now gaining ground, supported by AI workloads. Chip competition. Custom hardware, TPUs, gives Alphabet differentiation versus chip-only providers. Regulatory relief. Improved sentiment as antitrust pressures ease, boosting investor confidence.
Okay, so let's move on to the next news. On November 24, 2025, Anthropic launched its latest flagship model, Claude Opus 4.5. Compared to older models, Opus 4.5 brings significant improvements in coding, reasoning, tool use, and long context handling. Better efficiency. For many tasks, uses far fewer tokens, that is, less compute per result. Dramatically reduced pricing. Token cost cut by as much as 2/3 compared to previous versions, making heavy use far cheaper for developers and companies.
Because Opus 4.5 is cheaper and more powerful, it lowers the barrier for heavy AI use, including long-form code generation and bug fixing, large context chats, document creation, and reasoning tasks, tool-based workflows like agents, script execution and automation, spreadsheets, GUIs, and browsing. This could lead to a surge in AI-driven development, automation, and enterprise AI adoption, all requiring back-end compute infrastructure like never before.
As AI workloads increase, so does back-end hardware demand. A model that is more efficient doesn't reduce demand. It enables many more use cases, scaling across companies. More AI usage, higher demand for GPUs, AI accelerators, high-memory servers. Data center capacity, racks, cooling, storage, and networking. Global infrastructure, cloud providers, edge compute,
enterprise servers.
With Opus 4.5 raising the bar, AI infrastructure demand could outpace supply, creating pressure across hardware supply chains. This means chip makers, NVIDIA, AMD, and others will see higher demand, but also pressure to produce more faster. Cloud providers may scramble to scale capacity. Smaller players and startups will feel cost pressure, but cheaper model cost may help them survive. Global supply chains, memory, interconnects, and power will face stress. For the chip war ecosystem, this could intensify competition and accelerate infrastructure expenditures worldwide.
Okay, so let's move on to the next news.
UBTech Robotics, a Shenzhen-based company and one of China's leading makers of humanoid and service robots, recently announced a major share placement. They plan to issue 31,468,000 new shares at HK 9880, raising approximately 3.11 billion HKD, or $400 million US. This is the company's sixth funding round since August 2024 and the largest yet. According to their filing, about 75% of the net proceeds will go towards investing in or acquiring companies across the robotics supply chain, forming new partnerships or joint ventures over the next 2 years.
At first glance, a share placement might seem like a standard financing move. But for a robotics firm, especially one focused on humanoid robots, this kind of capital influx signals something much bigger. Robotics hardware is expensive. Design, manufacturing, materials, R&D, testing, and scaling up from prototypes to mass production is a high-cost, high-risk move. For UBTech to push ahead, they need deep pockets. By allocating 75% of this funding towards supply chain integration and acquisitions, UBTech is trying to own more of the hardware stack, from components, assembly, to distribution. That reduces dependency on external suppliers and gives control over quality, costs, and production speed. This is critical if they want to shift from small-scale robot demos to industrial-grade, widely deployed robots, whether for factories, logistics, security, or smart facilities.
With this funding push, UBTech appears ready to transition from being a niche robot maker to a full-scale robotics hardware manufacturer and supplier. Think about it. If UBTech successfully integrates its supply chain and scales production, they could supply robots not only for demonstration or consumer use, but for industry, logistics, security, service sectors, even public services. This expansion would push robotics hardware demand to levels similar to the semiconductor chip demand, but multiplied by complexity. Robots aren't just chips. They require actuators, sensors, power systems, control units, possibly AI compute hardware on board, and supply chain logistics.
Putting it all together, Alphabet's valuation surge shows hardware and compute scale matter. Anthropic's model release triggers hardware demand. UBTech's raise shows hardware robotics manufacturing is accelerating. These aren't four separate stories. They are parts of the same hardware infrastructure race. If you're tracking AI hardware, you're not just watching chips or models. You're watching manufacturers, systems, supply chains, and scale.